This is important because and Vodi and I have talked about this, because it really impacts missions. And, there's a lot of talk today about prejudice, racism, things like that. But let me explain to you some of the ways in which that actually does exist. So you go into a tribal area, let's say the Korwai. 15 years ago, they were cannibals. They lived up in the trees to escape the demons and the witches, and they were at war constantly. So the idea a lot of times in modern missions is if you can just go in there and get them to understand something about Jesus died for you, pray and receive him, that, man, you've won that people. Because obviously, they're so primitive, they can't advance. Well, if we go back and look at Europe, prior to the gospel coming into Europe, we were running around naked, painting ourselves blue, and clubbing each other to death. What changed? Where did John Owen and Bach come from? They came from the gospel. And so when my calling are those people. And as I see America decline, why is it declining? Because its culture is no longer being influenced by the gospel. Just play it backwards. And also, when I go into a culture, and for example, the Korwai people, even the translation, most of them can't read, so you have to put it in audio little recorders. So you see, I honestly believe that in 2 or 3 generations, a John Owen can come out of there. I believe that. That's the power of the gospel. The power of the gospel is if it was just getting us to heaven, that's still enough to preach about throughout all eternity. But one of the reasons why we pray for kings and all those in authority, did you ever wonder why we do that? It's just not so that they don't put us in jail. It's so that I want to pray that they will be in such a way toward me and my family that me and my family have the right to openly live as Christians before culture and have an influence. That I can openly be employed and show my Christianity to my fellow workers so that they will be changed. This is about transformation. This is about a demonstration of the power of the gospel. And you should never limit that, ever. And that's what we've done. There should be far more preaching. I called up last night, as soon as I got home, back to my hotel, I called my wife and I said, get my kids to watch what Vodi said. Think about this also. A man works at a job, and he's a Christian, so he's going to try to do a good job. But if he really understands that everything he does, God is watching, sees, takes pleasure in, it changes everything in his life. I had a policeman one time. I was teaching on, not as eloquently, but I was teaching on basically the same thing. And a policeman came up to me and he was weeping. He said, I thought my life was a waste. I sit there 8 hours a day on the side of the road watching people and then pulling them over for speeding. And you used an illustration about a policeman, how he's a minister of Christ and he's causing society to be shaped in a manner that is not chaos so that the gospel can go forward. He goes, I didn't realize my life has meaning. And so if you want to throw out cultural mandate, go ahead. But if you're in the New Testament, you'll find it again in different words. So.